Here are my picks for every game of the NFL playoffs. I'm picking every game in the bracket as of today and challenging all of you to try and beat me. I will let you know my current Super Bowl favorite and how to join my pickems contest at the end of the video. So stick around, think about your picks while I give you my picks. Starting with the 7-seeded Green Bay Packers going to Dallas to play the 2-seeded Dallas Cowboys. Now the Green Bay Packers have won 9 of their last 10 games versus Dallas, and Jordan Love is on absolute fire heading into the playoffs. But Mike McCarthy cannot lose this game. The Dallas Cowboys continue to get to the first round of the playoffs and continue to get bounced each year, which is why Dak Prescott cannot lose this game. He is also playing for a new contract up with the Dallas Cowboys. In fact, if the Cowboys lose this game, they could go into full franchise collapse. I personally think there's too much firepower in this Dallas offense for the 17th ranked Green Bay Packers defense to handle it, and I'll be rocking with them boys. Next, the 5-seeded Philadelphia Eagles are going to Tampa to play the 4-seeded Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you know exactly what Buccaneers team is going to show up to this game. A very balanced squad. Baker Mayfield has been very solid and consistent throughout the year. I do think Tampa stands a chance in this game. In fact, it may be the game that's on the highest level of upset alert. The question really is, what Philadelphia team is going to show up? Are we going to see the 11-1 team that was dominating the NFL for most of the season, not playing their best ball at that? Or are we going to see the Eagles that have lost 5 of their last 6 games, with Jalen Hurts banged up, AJ Brown disgruntled, a defense that couldn't even stop me from throwing for 250 yards on him as of late? This game is extremely hard to predict. I am trusting that when the pressure is on, this Philadelphia team is too talented to drop this game and survives one more week at least. Which brings me to the Los Angeles Rams, coming out of the 6th seed, traveling all the way to Detroit to play the Detroit Lions in the 3 seed. And we get Jared Goff versus his old team, the Rams. We get Matthew Stafford versus his old team, the Lions. Goff can become a Detroit hero, and Matthew Stafford can go from Detroit hero to Detroit villain. I mean, how perfectly has this storyline worked out? I am very concerned for the Detroit Lions heading into this game. They are currently the 26th ranked defense versus the pass. They're 22nd in the NFL in sack percentage, while meanwhile the team's 2nd versus the run. What do you think the Rams are going to fucking do? They're going to throw the shit out of the ball. If the Lions don't get out there and hit Stafford early in this game, get pressure in the pocket early in this game, and Los Angeles starts throwing the ball over the field early in this game, it's going to become a shootout. The Lions offense is fucking phenomenal as well. But I will take the Los Angeles Rams loaded with Hall of Famers on the offensive side of the ball to win that shootout. Give me LA, which would set up the 1-seeded 49ers versus the 6-seeded Los Angeles Rams in the 2nd round, where I think the Rams will put up a fight, but ultimately I think the 49ers win that one, and sets up the Philadelphia Eagles to be traveling to Dallas to play against the Dallas Cowboys. And with how the Eagles have been struggling and how the Cowboys have kind of been on fire, I would probably take Dallas in that one, setting up a 49ers versus Cowboys NFC Championship. An old rivalry renewed. How fun would that be? And a game that we already got a preview to earlier in the year. Moving on to the AFC, where in the first matchup, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to Buffalo to play against the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills have been far from an easy pick versus anyone this year, but hosting a TJ Wattless Steelers team is about as close to a bye week you can get to without getting an actual bye week. The Bills better win this game. And a more interesting matchup, the Miami Dolphins are going on the road to Kansas City to play against the 3-seeded Kansas City Chiefs. And early on in the year, the Dolphins looked like a team that could push Kansas City, especially offensively down the stretch of the season. But turns out the key in this game is going to be defense, because Tatua and the Cheetah have slowed down as the team kind of suffers more injuries, and that focus is narrowed to just those two. And the Miami defense has given up 77 points the past 2 weeks combined. They lost both games. Unless this defense has a complete turnaround this week, I don't give them much of a chance heading into Arrowhead and stunning Kansas City. Which brings me to the final AFC matchup. The Cleveland Browns are going on the road to face off against the Houston Texans. This is a super fun playoff matchup. You got a top flight defense taking on a top 5 passing attack. The Browns are red hot with Joe Flacco. They even smoked the Houston Texans just a few weeks ago, but that was a Houston Texans team without CJ Stroud. Case Keenum couldn't protect the ball at all versus this Browns defense, which is kind of CJ Stroud's greatest strength this year. The ability to air raid the football down the field while also protecting the football. And CJ Stroud's just a little bit more mobile than Case Keenum or Davis Mills, who also played in that game, and can kind of neutralize this lethal Browns pass rush a little bit. And now, since Flacco's joined the Browns, no one's gotten him this week. No one's made him have just a terrible game. And most importantly, no one's really gotten to Joe Flacco and knocked him on his ass. ass. I think DeMeco Ryans and this defense #1 focus is going to be doing just that. Disrupt that 40-year-old statue that's standing in the pocket. And if Houston's successful in that endeavor, I think they pull off the upset here as home underdogs, which will set up the Baltimore Ravens hosting the Houston Texans and the 3-seeded Kansas City Chiefs going to Buffalo to play the 2-seeded Bills, where I think the Ravens would handle business and take care of the Texans unlike the Browns. And I think as of today, the team that's making more plays, the team that's coming into the playoffs the hottest out of the Bills and Chiefs, is the Bills. So I'm gonna rock with Buffalo to advance the AFC title game against Baltimore. And I'll tell you who I have winning the AFC, NFC, and Super Bowl. But first, make sure you go and send in your picks before it's too late. We have 2 Pick'ems challenges. Both are linked on my profile. One is a fantasy football Pick'ems challenge where you set a fantasy lineup for the playoffs and play against me. The other is just straight picks. Who do you think is gonna win? And whoever has the most wins at the end of the playoffs will be the winner, which will also probably be me. But if you guys think you can beat me, we're putting over $900 on the line here. And in a Super Bowl rematch, I have the Baltimore Ravens defeating the 49ers again.
I gave you fair warning, beware, smack him in the mouth. I gave you fair